Academy, it's Miss Cooper here. I thought I'd do another maths video today, and today we are looking at rounding to the nearest 10. So rounding to the nearest 10. Now there are several ways to think about rounding, but I'm going to start off with the rhyme over here, which is 5 and above, give it a shove, and giving it a shove means it gets bigger. 4 or below, keep it low. That means your tens digit stays the same. So you have two choices. Either your tens digit moves up one, it gets one greater, or your tens digit stays the same. So if we move over to my example over here, I have the number 72. 72. So have a think, how many tens are there in 72? That's right, there are 7. So I am either going to stay with 7 tens or move up to my next tens. What is my next 10 after 70? 80. So it's either going to be 70 or 80. Those are my two choices. Now my first step here is remember the rhyme. Do we shove or keep it low? So again, the rhyme. 5 and above, give it a shove. 4 or below, keep it low. So we are going to look at the digit next to our tens, to the right of it. So we're looking at our 2. Now is our 2 5 and above or 4 and below? That's right, it's below 4, so we are going to keep it low. So as I've put in my next step, next, you either go to the next 10, which we've already said would be 80, which is giving it a shove, or stay on that 10, which will be 70, keeping it low. Now we've just decided that we are keeping it low because our 2 is below 4. So our 7 is going to stay because we're keeping it low, and everything to the right of your tens digit becomes a 0 because we're rounding to the nearest 10. So everything to the right becomes a 0, so it is 70. That's one way to think about it. If that doesn't work for you, or that's a little bit tricky for you, there is another way to think about it. We are going to move down to here. So I've got the question here, round 57 to the nearest 10. And I've put here, imagine a number line. You can either picture it in your head or you can draw it out. Is 57 closer to 50 or 60? Because remember, we are only looking at our tens digit because we're rounding to the nearest 10. So is 57 in our head closer to 50 or 60? So I've got 50 here, 60 here. So this would be keeping it low. This would be giving it a shove. Whereabouts do you think 57 would be? Pause the video and see if you can work with your adult or work it out in your head. Maybe draw a number line and put it where you think it would be. I'm going to give you a second. Okay, you should have unpaused the video now and had a think. I'm going to put 57 about here. So, where is 57 closer to, 50 or 60? That's right, it is closer to 60. So 57 rounded to the nearest 10 would be 60. I'm going to use that knowledge to come over here to some practice questions. So 24, rounding it to the nearest 10. So I'm either going to keep it low, where the tens digit stays the same, at 20, or give it a shove, where the tens digit goes to the tens digit above. So from 20, that'll be 30. So 24, where is 24 going to be between 20 and 30? Pause the video here, have a go yourself. Unpausing the video, I'm going to put 24 here. So it is just about closer to 20, meaning it will be rounded to 20. This one is very tricky. So again, 50 and 60 will be our keeping it low and our giving it a shove. Now if we think back to our rhyme, it said 5 and above, give it a shove. Because 55, tricky, would go bang in the middle here. So our number line doesn't help us for this one, but the rhyme does, because it says 5 and above, so that is a 5. We are giving it a shove, meaning it will be rounded to 60. Now, there is something different about these last 3 questions. See if you can work it out. Yep, that's right. They are hundreds. So we have 263 here. But for the purposes of us thinking about it, because we're rounding to the nearest 10, we don't need to worry about the 200s influencing our decision that much. So for working it out, we can even get rid of them. So we're still looking at our tens digit here and the one next to it to help us decide if we shove or keep it low. So it will be between 60 and 70. So if we think 63, where is that going to be on our number line? It's going to be around here. So it is closer to 60. So if it was just a tens digit number, I would just write 60 here. But we now need to go back to remembering we had that 200. So it is now 260 to the nearest 10. Using that knowledge again, temporarily, for now, we'll forget about our 4. Keeping it low, it would be at 10. Giving it a shove, we'd be at the 10 above, which would be 20. Now we need the 8 because it's 18. So where is 18 going to be between 10 and 20? About there. So which one's it closer to? 20. Remembering our 400 again, can't forget about them at the end. It will be 420. Last question here, super tricky because we need to think about both our 5 at the end and its place in the rhyme and it's 100. So if we kept it low, 75 would be 70. If we gave it a shove, it would be 80. 75 is going to go smack bang in the middle. So the number line doesn't help us. We remember our rhyme. 5 and above, give it a shove. 4 or below, keep it low. So we are giving it a shove, which means it is going to be 80. But I now need to remember my 100 over here. And it will be 380. That is our little overview of rounding to the nearest 10. Next up, it'll be rounding to the nearest 100 and then to the nearest 1,000. But if you have these steps here, you should be absolutely fine to move on to that. Have a practice at home. Bye, Whitehall.